As Ada Cardano's price has been doing quite well over the last few days in comparison to some of its counterparts like Bitcoin and Ethereum, we have to understand that this is not something that is going to last forever. Ada Cardano needs to make some significant steps to the upside before we can start to expect that it is out of the water and that it is out in the clear from this huge capitulation and fall that we have been seeing in the market recently. So in today's video, I'm going to tell you exactly what we need to be looking for Ada Cardano in order for it to get out of these crazy murky waters, or what we can do to confirm that it is going to start to see some of these possibly 30 to even 45% falls to the downside. So looking at Ada Cardano, what we can see is that over the last few days, again, it has actually been doing quite well. If we look at this in comparison to what's happening in other cryptos, you can see that it's doing a good job. If we compare it to just the May 12th low, the wick that we put on May 12th, we're still actually at a lower or a higher low. But if you look at something like Bitcoin, for example, we're at a lower low, down about 20% from this low. If we look at something like Ethereum, from this May 12th low, we are down about 35%. If we look at something like Solana, we're down about 20% from that wick low. And again, ADA itself is still up quite significantly from that low, looking at about a gain of about 20% off that bottom in which we did put in. So for that reason, we can go look at something like ADA Bitcoin, and you can clearly see here that we are still, seeing this thing climbing, right? Over the last roughly 15 days, we have been seeing ADA outperforming Bitcoin. You look at ADA Ethereum, it has been outperforming Ethereum, realistically, ever since the middle of May, so for the last month now. But these things do not last forever, and we know that. And so for that reason, let's talk about what needs to happen very soon for this to continue before we do start to see Bitcoin outperforming ADA, Ethereum outperforming ADA, and ADA starting to revisit its, some of these lower lows. It's possibly as low as 25 cents. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to break this down into the bullish scenario and the bear scenario. I never tell you guys what is going to happen. I don't have a crystal ball. I can't see the future. But what I can do is to prepare you for both major outcomes so you are 100% prepared no matter what this market offers. So let's talk about the bullish scenario. So the bullish scenario is that today when the Fed releases interest rates, that it's going to be some type of good news, or the market's just going to react well to it. In the event in which the market reacts well to it and we finally start to see some growth to the upside, there's two things that I want to see from Ada Cardano before I get excited. The first thing is that we clear this key level of resistance that we've been under since the beginning of April. As you can see, we've had 1, 2, 3 touches on this trend line, which establishes it as a level of relevance and significance. And so for that reason, we can call it a resistance level, a trend line, etc. Obviously, whenever we are in a descending level or a descending resistance like we are now, we have to get back above it, or we're just going to keep getting rejected to the downside, and we never want to do that. I personally do not purchase cryptos while they are below strong levels of resistance, because until they clear it, we are guaranteed to go down. That's just how that works, right? So the first confirmation is that I want to see us get back above this key level of resistance, which is currently sitting around 60 cents to 58 cents right here, as we can see on the trend line. If under the event in which we are capable of doing that, I would start to then look for the clearing of 70 cents, as that is this rejective high right here. As you can see on 3 occasions, 1, 2, 3, we have been rejected by this level. And so even if we break out of here, I still would want to see that we're able to get back above 70 cents and clear this rejective high, interact with some type of W bottom here. And once we do break this level, that then does put us in position to visit as high as possibly even $1. This is the setup I'm looking for, and I need to see us back above 70 cents before I get too excited that Ada Cardano is capable of making moves of that nature. Now, is this possible? Sure, I definitely think it's possible. If we look at something like the daily RSI, you can see here that off this recent May 28th low, we have now put in the higher low, right? But if we look at that in comparison to what is happening on the price, on May 28th, we put in that low and we put in the lower low. That is called bullish divergence. And what that says is that momentum is changing and the bulls are stepping in. And as the bulls step in, we very possibly could start to see the price reversing to the top side here. If we look at something like the daily MACD, as we can see here, let's go ahead and pull this up. One thing you can see is that we did go ahead and cross into bullish territory for a split second, but we did just cross into this bearish territory. So while we are in moments like this, you can see that there are times where within the next couple of days after we get the bearish cross, there are times where we can recover it pretty quickly, like we saw back here, and again like we have saw historically back here in times of this nature, right, where we get a bear cross for a short amount of time and then the bulls start to kick back in and we see the drive to the upside, recrossing to the upside. So that is something we will need to see happen very soon, and that is why I'm calling this Ada Cardano's last chance to continue this bullish momentum. Okay, so I need to see those two things happen before I get too excited or expectant that ADA Cardano can even continue to outperform this market. So that's my bullish scenario. The bearish scenario, this is the scenario that I think is the most likely, if we're going to be very honest here, is that this market could very possibly either go into consolidation or it can go into capitulation. Now, what that means is that I do think Bitcoin very possibly, unless we get some good news soon, could continue down towards some of these, $17,000, $18,000 levels. And if that does happen, if ADA Cardano at any given point does either one, get rejected off of this trend line or get rejected off the 70 back into this wedge in which we are in right now, this wedge, I do believe that the loss of the 39-cent level is going to send the ADA into free fall. I think at any given point that we do fall back below this wick low, it is going to then put ADA Cardano in the same boat as all the rest of the cryptos, now setting lower lows. And I do think at that point, there's a strong chance we do come revisit anywhere between, 30 to even 25 cents. And so the biggest thing that I would be on the lookout for right now is how do we interact with that 39-cent level at any given point that we come back to it. The reason I say that is because you look at ADA Bitcoin, we have been on this clear shot to the upside, but we are starting to get signs that this thing could very possibly fall back and reverse soon. One of the biggest signs is that we do see, of course, the higher high, the high and the higher high, but we're getting a high and a lower high on this daily RSI, which is a sign that as we approach this key level of rejection and resistance, we are starting to see the momentum slow down. And that means is that if this starts to fall, what that means is that Bitcoin is outperforming ADA, which means that ADA is no longer, of course, obviously outperforming Bitcoin, which very possibly means it is continuing to the downside. If we look at something like ADA Ethereum, we are extremely extended to the top side here, and we're not getting that same price movement on the RSI. Look at this extension and look at this small extension here. And so as we do edge up towards some of these key levels, especially having long-term macro bearish divergence, that tells me that we very possibly could start to see ADA ETH falling, which means ADA is no longer outperforming Ethereum either. Both of these situations usually will happen when the market is falling, but ADA is falling harder. And so I do believe that there's a strong chance that unless we get back above these levels very soon, that if we lose 39 cents, we will start to continue towards 25 to even 30 cents to see a fall of somewhere between 45 to even 30%. Now, my whole goal is, again, I'm not here to tell you what's going to happen. I don't have a crystal ball, but I give you every single thing that I'm looking for and how I'm preparing for it. So let me tell you how I'm preparing for both of these bullish and bearish outcomes. The bullish outcome, I'm not going to accumulate until we get back above the trend line. If we get back above the trend line, I will do a small accumulation, expecting to see a little bit of a gain from the trend line to the top side of up to 26%. Okay, there could be a little bit of a trade to be made here. If that does happen, I'm still not going to really accumulate until we at least break the 70-cent level, because that is a confirmation to me that momentum has completely flipped to the bull side. Okay, if we do start to see the price falling and getting rejected and losing this 39-cent level right here, boom, I am going to go short. I'm going to open up a short position on ADA Cardano, expecting us to revisit as low as possibly 26 cents, which could look like a fall of anywhere between 30 to 25%. And 2x leverage, which is what I usually trade on, that is anywhere between 50 to 60% in gains. And obviously, I do want to take advantage of that. I would open up the short trade around 38 cents, and I would not close it until we either hit 30 to 25 cents or until the price was to come back up and re-clear the trend line and get back above 39 cents. If it did this, broke the trend line, got back above 39 cents, I would close that short trade, because it's likely at that point we do continue towards the upside. But realistically, while we are below this level, no matter what we do, no matter what bounces we see, I'm going to hold it open until we get to this 30 to 25 cent level, because I think that is a very likely outcome of losing 39 cents. And of course, I do want to maximize my gains even with short trades as well. You guys know that short trades are things that I do quite often. We did some just yesterday, right? I told the guys in the Patreon, I said, hey, if we break down below 21.3K on Bitcoin, I'll be going short with a breakdown target of 20.8K. 3x leverage, that's a 2% fall, gives us a gain of 6%. And as you can see, not only, just about 6 hours later, I went ahead and say my short trade on Bitcoin went through at 21.3. I'll be closing it now at 20.8 for our expected gain of 6%. And you can see we did have the proof of the fall that I was looking for, right? So whenever we do these short trades, it's It's not that, I'm against Bitcoin or I'm against ADA. It's just that they're falling and I want to take advantage of that fall. And so that is exactly what I'd be looking for, to possibly see even up to 50% in gains for ADA as it does join the rest of the cryptos down at some of these lower lows. Okay, so with that said, that's going to be about it for Ada Cardano's video today. I don't mean to be the guy who's the bearer of bad news or whatever, but I do believe it's more likely for Ada to continue to the downside here. So I am preparing for that, but of course I will always offer you the bullish outcome as well, just in case I'm wrong, because again, I don't have a crystal ball and I can't see the future. But with that said, that's going to be about it. And of course I will update you guys as this does play out. So to make sure you don't miss the next Ada Cardano update, make sure that when you subscribe to the channel, you turn on notifications, and you'll be one of the first ones to know when I do upload another Ada Cardano video, especially if you did enjoy this one. But with that said, that's going to be about it, and I hope you guys did enjoy. Peace.